that his allegations were false, and he knew it anyway, what did he do? He went to the House, and he told his colleagues when they took over the House that he was really good at impeachment. But what happened was the proceedings took place in a basement of the House of Representatives. The president was forbidden from attending. The president was not allowed to have a lawyer present. In every other impeachment proceeding, the president has been given a minimal due process. Nothing here. Not even Mr. Schiff's Republican colleagues were allowed into the SCIF. Information was selectively leaked out. Witnesses were threatened. Good public servants were told that they would be held in contempt. They were told that they were obstructing. What does Mr. Schiff mean by obstructing? He means that unless you do exactly what he says, regardless of your constitutional rights, then you're obstructing. The president was not allowed to call witnesses. By the way, there's still evidence in the SCIF that we haven't been allowed to see. I wonder why. No witnesses. Now let's think about something else for a second. Let's think about something else. They held these articles for 33 days. We hear all this talk about an overwhelming case that they're not even prepared today to stand up and make an opening argument about. That's because they have no case. Frankly, they have no charge. When you look at these articles of impeachment, they're not only ridiculous, they are dangerous to our republic. And why? First of all, the notion that invoking your constitutional rights to protect the executive branch, that's been done by just about every president since George Washington, that is obstruction. That is our patriotic duty, Mr. Schiff, particularly when confronted with a wholesale trampling of constitutional rights that I'm unfamiliar with in this country. Frankly, it's the kind of thing that our State Department would criticize if we see it in foreign countries. We've never seen anything like it. And Mr. Schiff said, "Have I got a deal for you? Abandon all your constitutional rights. Forget about your lawyers and come in and do exactly what I say. No, thank you. No, thank you." And then he says he has the temerity to come into the Senate and say, we have no use for courts. It's outrageous. Now, let me tell you another story. There's a man named Charlie Kupperman. He is the Deputy National Security Advisor. Instruction for going to court. Come here and lecture the Senate. By the way, I was surprised to hear that, did you realize you're on trial? Mr. Nadler's putting you on trial. Everybody's on trial except for them. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They said in their brief, we have overwhelming evidence, and they're afraid to make their case. Think about it. Think about it. It's common sense. Overwhelming evidence to impeach the President of the United States. And then they come here on the first day and they say, you know what? We need some more evidence. Now, let me tell you something. If I showed up in any court in this country and I said, Judge, my case is overwhelming, but I'm not ready to go yet. I need more evidence before I can make my case. I would get thrown out in 2 seconds. And that's exactly what should happen here. That's exactly what should happen here. It's too much to listen to almost. The hypocrisy of the whole thing. And what are the stakes? What are the stakes? There's an election in almost 9 months. Months from now, there's going to be an election. Senators in this body the last time had very wise words. They echoed the words of our founders. A partisan impeachment is like stealing an election. And that's exactly what we have. We have, talk about the framers' worst nightmare. It's a partisan impeachment that they've delivered to your doorstep in an election year. Some of you are upset because you should be in Iowa right now. But instead we're here, and they're not ready to go. And it's outrageous. It's outrageous. And the American people won't stand for it, I'll tell you that right now. They're not here to steal one election, they're here to steal 2 elections. It's buried in the small print of their ridiculous articles of impeachment. They want to remove the President Trump from the ballot. They won't tell you that. They don't have the guts to say it directly, but that's exactly what they're here to do. They're asking the Senate to attack one of the most sacred rights we have as Americans, the right to choose our president in an election year. It's never been done before. It shouldn't be done before. Now, the reason it's never been done is because no one ever thought that it would be a good idea for our country, for our children, for our grandchildren, to try to remove a president from a ballot, to deny the American people the right to vote based on a fraudulent investigation conducted in secret with no rights. Well, I could go on, but my point is very simple. It's long past time that we start this so we can end this ridiculous charade and go have an election. Thank you very much, Mr. Chief Justice.
Does the President's counsel yield back the remainder of their time? Thank you. The Democratic leader is recognized.
Mr. Chief Justice, I send an amendment to the desk to subpoena certain documents and records from the White House, and I ask that it be read.
The clerk will read the document.
Ukraine, including but not limited to President Trump's decision not to attend, to ask Vice President Pence to lead the delegation, directing Vice President Pence not to attend, and subsequent decision about the composition of the delegation of the United States. 2, a meeting at the White House on or around May 23, 2019, involving, among others, President Trump, then Special Representative for Ukraine negotiations, Ambassador Kurt Volker, then Energy Secretary Rick Perry, and United States Ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, as well as any private meetings or conversations with those individuals before or after the larger meeting. 3, meetings at the White House on or about July 10, 2019, involving Ukrainian officials Andrei Yermak and Oleksandr Danilyuk, and United States government officials, including but not limited to then National Security Advisor John Bolton, Secretary Perry, Ambassador Volker, Ambassador Sondland, to include at least a meeting in Ambassador Bolton's office and subsequent meeting in the wardroom. 4, a meeting at the White House on or around August 30th, 2019, involving President Trump, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and Secretary of Defense Mark Esper. 5, a planned meeting later canceled in Warsaw, Poland, on or around September 1st, 2019, between President Trump and President Zelensky, and subsequently attended by Vice President Pence. And 6, a meeting at the White House on or around September 11, 2019, involving President Trump, Vice President Pence, and Mr. Mulvaney concerning the lifting of the hold on security assistance for Ukraine. F, meetings, telephone calls, or conversations related to any occasions in which the National Security Council officials reported concerns to National Security Council lawyers, including but not limited to National Security Council legal advisor John Eisenberg, regarding matters related to Ukraine, including but not limited to 1, the decision to delay military assistance to Ukraine, 2, the July 10, 2019 meetings at the White House with Ukrainian officials, 3, the President's July 25, 2019 call with the President of Ukraine, 4, a September 1, 2019 meeting between Ambassador Sondland and a Ukrainian official, and 5, the President's September 7, 2019 call with Ambassador Sondland. G, any internal review or assessment within the White House regarding Ukraine matters following the September 9, 2019 request for documents from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the House Committee on Oversight and Reform, and the House Committee on Foreign Affairs, including but not limited to documents collected that pertain to the hold on military and other security assistance to Ukraine, the scheduling of a White House meeting for the President of Ukraine, and any requests for investigations by Ukraine. H, the complaint submitted by a whistleblower within the intelligence community on or around August 12, 2019 to the Inspector General of the intelligence community. I, all meetings or calls, including requests for or recordings of meetings or telephone calls, scheduling items, calendar entries, White House visitor records, and email or text messages using personal or work-related devices between or among 1, current or former White House officials or employees, including but not limited to President Trump, and 2, Rudolph W. Giuliani, Ambassador Sondland, Victoria Tunsang, or Joseph DeGenova, and J, former United States Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Masha Yovanovitch, including but not limited to the decision to end her tour or recall her from the United States Embassy in Kiev, and 2, the Sergeant at Arms is authorized to utilize the services of the Deputy Sergeant at Arms or any other employee of the United States Senate in serving the subpoena authorized to be issued by this section.
Mr. Chief Justice,
The majority leader is recognized.
I'd ask for a brief 15-minute recess before the parties are recognized to debate the Schumer amendment. Therefore, I ask consent the Senate stand in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Without objection, so ordered.